Hi everyone, Ijao Martins, licensed marriage and family therapist, couples therapist. Let's continue with our conversation on the fighting styles. So today I will give you detailed description of the volcanic and icy pair. We'll still start to look at the attachment, look at the nervous system, and then look at if there's any regulation, self-regulation, co-regulation, and then we look at the couple's dynamic. And I would like to give you an actual case study today, so it will demonstrate what it looks like, what it might look like in real life. All right, are you ready? Okay, so with the volcanic and icy pair, the attachment style tends to be the volcanic partner tend to have a mixed in anxious and preoccupied attachment style. We also call it insecure, inconsistent, insecure attachment style, disorganized. And the partner who is icy tend to have the avoidant attachment style. If you're not familiar with attachment styles, you may actually Google it and AI it, look more into it. Here, I'm only just mention it quickly. So the avoidant attachment style tend to have a bad reputation on the internet. And if you listen to YouTube channels, a lot of people talk about how to deal with men who are having avoidant attachment style. And how do you, get him back without chasing, stuff like that. So if you were to look at the origin of a avoidant attachment style, it may help you to understand where does it come from? Why do they want to duck and cover and run away? Why they have fear of intimacy, right? So it's really when the child early on learned, I cannot rely on you, my caregiver. I cannot rely on you to take care of my needs, to see me, to hear me, to take care of me, and to make me feel safe. And I discover as I grow, I have this capacity to do it on my own, where I can find ways to meet my own needs, and I'm just fine. So you can also describe people with avoidant attachment style more like an island that kind of isolated from the rest of the world. They choose to do that, and because it's a lot safer that if I rely on myself, I rely on my work, I get my needs met, I make money, I take care of myself, I'm an independent person. They're very proud of themselves of being independent, and they tend to have the same requirement of their partner to be more independent. When they come to my couples therapy sessions, I often hear the avoidant attachment partners say, well, I want my partner to be more independent. I want us to have independent relationships, right? So there's nothing wrong to be independent. There's also a lack of the capacity to allow other people to soothe us and to meet our needs. So it's not interdependent. And what's the point of being in a relationship with someone for long term if you can meet all your needs, right, without the other person needed, period, right? Then you wouldn't need to be in a relationship, right? So it is this fear that you're going to do what my caregiver did when I was a kid. When I tell you I have needs, you're going to shame me. You're not going to meet my needs. You're going to leave me hanging. I will be abandoned and rejected again. I'm never going to go there. So the avoidant partner, when sometimes their partner having emotional needs and they feel this overwhelming sensations of I'm being flooded with needs, and whoa, the young part saying, what about my needs? And the older part saying, no, I'm not meeting your needs. I got to survive myself first. So they shut down, they close their boundary. And that's when they show as being icy and cold, right? And that really activates their partner who tend to have a more disorganized or anxious attachment style. The part of them that is disorganized, meaning they sometimes are anxiously preoccupied, sometimes they're avoidant. So they cannot fully relax to receive care and love. And then they also crave that attention and that to be seen and to be understood. And the care, the unconditional love they've never had. I think both of them do. But both of them fear that. but the way they respond are different. So how are they, how's their nervous system when they're in fights, right? When the partner that's explosive and having needs not met and rage and discharge that rage, while the other person just totally shut down, being icy and cold, so they don't take on any of the strong emotions because they're so afraid of that. It is intimidating. It's really a racking of your nervous system if you're in front of someone who is rageful, right? Especially the target is you. So one partner is hyper aroused, right? They cannot calm down their nervous system, they're in fight, and the other partner is hypo aroused, which means that they actually cannot be activated enough to engage in this conversation. So they're not in engagement, they're in the shutdown mode and hyper aroused. And there is no co-regulation, period. The partner wants to be regulated, the more volcanic ones, when they put out a lot of aggression and emotions, they want co-regulation. Well, the avoidant partner, they're very good at self-regulating and they do not like co-regulation. They have a hard time co-regulating, right? So their way of dealing with the overwhelming stimulation sensation is to shut down, close their boundary, and get rigid. So there's no co-regulation between the couples, and they constantly getting into this a little bit like pursuing and withdrawing, but it's more intense in the way the partner who's pursuing is pursuing with rage. That tend to come to a certain point that they can't handle anymore and they just let out everything. So let me give you a real live example. I'm not saying every couple fight like this when they're belonging to the more volcanic versus icy fighting style, but this is a good example for you to have a peep of what it might look like, right? So we have here our typical, I'm just using heterosexual couple, okay. Female partner's name is Tina. She's the more volcanic one, very expressive with aggression. And then the male partner is Nunu, who is more icy and avoidant. So the incident happens in the car. They have a 3-year-old daughter. So they were on a road trip. Tina asked Nunu to change their little daughter, Moxie, a diaper before they get into the car because it's a long ride. And Nunu forgot, which is also normal, right? So in the car, when they were driving, Nunu's driving, and Tina asked, did you change Moxie's diaper before we get on the road? And Nunu said, no, I forgot. And here, Tina just erupted, the volcano erupted. She just couldn't hold anymore and she just started. She got it started in the car. She's like, I can't believe you. What kind of dad are you? This is intense, personal attack. What kind of dad are you? Do you know that our daughter could get diaper rash when sitting in a dirty diaper for this long? What if there's not a place for you to pull over and change a diaper soon? And we're in a hurry and getting on the road and trying to get there before a certain time. Just run. You see the speed of the speech, right? Go like a machine gun. And Nunu's response is absolutely silence. He doesn't speak. He doesn't change his facial expression. He looks like a blank, right? Poker face. He internally, it was all turmoil and everything, but he doesn't show anything. And that's his way of staying calm, non-responsive. Always trying to focus on the road, right? Also, he doesn't want to create a scene because the daughter is sitting in the back seat. And Tina got even more activated. So there's a part of Tina thinking, you do not care about our daughter, not turning into you do not care about me, because when I'm telling you what to do and what's best and you're not listening to me and you're ignoring my needs, you're ignoring my request, And very likely there's a young part of Tina got activated, right? When she was young, maybe her needs were ignored. She was not seen and heard, understood, and valued, right? And that young part started to take over her system and continue with just like berating Nunu with harsh words and judgment, and the tone of voice is really loud, and the pitch is really high within the small closed space in the car. And Nunu gets even more and more silent. He just really tried really hard to harden his face and his chest, his heart, and everything, gripping and the steering wheel very hard to control the vehicle. And inside, he could have multiple parts get activated. The part of him that's being shamed as a child, the part of him that's have their own needs is not met, and the part of him that want to explain but doesn't have the words for it. The part of him is really in high control of his anger, so he doesn't explode, because for him, expressing anger as a man is violent, right? That's how he grew up with. And in this time, Tina broke down. She started crying and sobbing, and cannot be soothed. And her whole system is taken over by a young part. And the daughter in the back got a little scared and started whimper as well. That kind of made it worse. And everybody's system is all wrecked. And now they're having inner critic coming up as well, saying, "Oh, terrible parents we are. We traumatize our children in the back on our road trip, which is supposed to be a fun family event, right? What a failures and losers we are." And that's also possible. So where is it going to go? Can you guess? Yeah. I can think about two scenarios. One could be Nunu continue to hold the poker face and being icy, while like Tina continue with crying and then shut down, being cold as well. And then they have an evening without talking to each other, disengaged. Or another one I can think of is sometimes the partner in Nunu's position, if it's been going on for a long time, and then they just had enough and they decide to abandon the vehicle, take a walk somewhere, and disengage. So either way, do you think they resolved their conflicts? Do you think the daughter's need got taken care of? Do you think that they were able to get closer and have some connection? And certainly each of their young parts are now seen and heard, understood, and held. So that's how a lot of couples fight until they're getting further and further away without anything resolved. So this is the second style of fighting, the volcanic and the icy partners. Next week, we'll continue with our fighting styles. We'll see you next week, my friends.